When beginning this week's project, I was very lost on where to start creating. But I took a moment to rewatch the video we were given and realized that was the point. So instead of trying to plan anything, I went to the historic downtown of my city, found an old church, and just sat down. I noticed on the stairs I was sitting on, there was a lot of moss growing on one particular step, so I chose that to observe. The first thing I noticed was how much of the color green stood out against the brick. This observation carried on to all of the plants I observed during this project. It seemed to me that these plants worked so hard to get through the various cracks that they made sure they could be seen. We often overlook these plants, but once you purposefully try and keep an eye out for them, they catch your attention everywhere. I decided to take photos of the various plants I found where they stood out as much as possible. In this process, I also discovered a very interesting yellow mushroom thing growing out of the wood on my back deck, which turned out to apparently be an edible jelly fungus. When observing the moss, I noticed that it was spread over the brick much more than I had originally realized. Looking closer, there was a very thin layer of moss over almost all of the steps, and it only became noticeable when layered and clumped together. This reminded me so much of music, and I decided to take the growth and the visual of the moss into my next form of creation, music, specifically the piano. A standard piano has 88 keys, composed of 7 octaves and 3 lower notes. Each octave is only 8 notes, and these 8 notes are the foundation of all music created on the piano. Just like the undetectable moss on the stairs, it is only once these notes are combined and layered that songs begin to take shape. For example, take a C note. Also known as middle C, this is the first note that every piano player learns. Next, a C major chord. Let's layer on some more moss. 3 more chords, D major, E minor, and G major. The next step is adding movement, dynamics, messing around with it, and seeing if there's more green in your sidewalks than you thought there was. The final step is adding more notes, more octaves, different patterns, and literally anything you want. And then eventually, you've got a song. Like moss trying to grow on concrete, I struggled with this because I've never tried making music before. But I do know enough, and like moss, I took it one step at a time, and the end result is a lot more green than when I started.